wanted the world to hear. A story buried under years of silence, manipulation, and carefully edited reality TV scenes. But now, the truth has erupted out of the courtroom like a bomb. After decades of loyalty, decades of sacrifice, and her fatal mistake as the case moved toward a closed-door hearing, this was an archive. Years of financial records, digitized spreadsheets, bank statements, scanned checks, emails, tax tracings, all forming a devastating financial X-ray of Meri Brown's contributions to the Brown Empire. And the most damning part? The empire her money built had, in recent years, begun to operate like a machine powering only one household, Kody and Robin's. Meri's legal team took this mountain of evidence and did not simply present it. They weaponized it. They structured her financial life into 3 brutal phases, each one painting a clearer, darker picture than the last. Phase 1, the pre-Vegas struggle. This was the foundation. The years of sacrifice. The years Meri quietly carried more weight than anyone ever gave her credit for. The attorneys brought out old pay stubs from Meri's early jobs, showing steady, reliable income that went directly into the shared family accounts. They showed how Meri's financial discipline in Lehi, Utah kept the family afloat during the leanest years. This phase shattered the defense's early strategy, the claim that Meri had drifted financially in later years. Her lawyers proved the opposite. Meri had always been the provider, the stabilizer, the backbone. Phase 2. The Las Vegas households. Production obligations. Lifestyle inflation. This was the era of Brown on the stand. What happened next shocked even Meri's attorneys. Cody Brown. And can you tell the court why? 3 days later, $48,000 left that same fund to pay the mortgage on your home with Robin Brown? Cody sputtered. He rambled. He insisted money was fungible. But the attorney connected every transfer, every deposit, every financial artery, straight to Cody and Robin's benefit. The land deeds. The final blow then came Coyote Pass. Mr. Brown, you and Robin Brown are listed as joint tenants on the largest, most valuable parcel. Correct? Yes, Cody said stiffly. Janelle Brown is listed on her parcel? Yes. Then the dagger. Is Meri Brown's name on any deed for any portion of the Coyote Pass property? Silence. Jaw tight. Finally, no. That was temporary. But the courtroom had already seen enough. Temporary or not, the message was unmistakable. Meri funded the dream. Cody and Robin claimed the land. Meri's attorney didn't raise her voice. She didn't accuse, insult, or dramatize. She simply held the final question in the air like a blade aimed at the heart of Cody's entire defense. Mr. Brown, can you produce any written document, any email, any text message, anything at all, that shows you had a plan to add Meri to the deed? The silence hit the room like a hammer. For 4 years, Cody had accepted her income. For 4 years, he took hundreds of thousands of dollars of her labor, her sacrifice, her trust. Yet he had nothing. Not a note. Not a text. Not a single scribble on paper confirming this future plan. His jaw clenched. His eyes dropped. The courtroom watched a man unravel beneath the weight of the truth. Cody's testimony didn't end, it collapsed. He stepped down visibly shaken, furious, and stripped of the patriarchal authority he once wielded like a shield. What remained was the portrait of a man who had used his first wife's loyalty as a personal line of credit and offered nothing in return. The defense was in ruins, but they still had one final card. They believed that if anyone could save them, it was Robin Brown. They could not have been more wrong. Robin Brown takes the stand. The emotional gamble when the bailiff called Robin's name, the atmosphere shifted like a sudden weather change. This wasn't about numbers anymore. This was about perception, emotion, and the powerful narrative Robin had crafted for years. Robin entered the courtroom with carefully measured fragility. Soft voice. Shaking hands. Tissue already in hand. The defense was betting everything on drama. Her lawyer walked her through each question like a stage director guiding an actress through her most emotional scene. Robin spoke about unity. She spoke about dreams of all the sister wives living together on Coyote Pass. She painted visions of grandchildren running through shared backyards. And then came the pivotal line, the justification they had rehearsed. We didn't put Meri on the deed because we were scared. Her emotions were unstable. One minute she was committed, the next she wasn't. We were protecting the family. In that moment, Robin tried to turn Meri's pain into a weapon. She blamed Meri's emotional exhaustion caused by her own isolation, as the reason to financially erase her. It was a performance worthy of an Emmy. For a moment, even the gallery fell silent. But then Meri's attorney rose from her seat, and everything changed. The cross-examination, the collapse of Robin Brown. The lawyer approached the stand with a single sheet of paper. No stack of binders. No mountain of exhibits. Just one weapon, a bank statement. Her voice was flat, controlled,
Deadly.
Mrs. Brown, you claim you excluded Meri for the good of the family, correct? Robin nodded, eyes downcast. And you claim you feared she might leave? Another nod. The lawyer set the paper before her. This statement shows a transfer of $15,000 from Meri's business account the week of the Coyote Pass closing. Do you see it? Robin didn't look. She didn't need to. She knew exactly what it was. The attorney took one step closer. So let me make sure the court understands. You were terrified Meri might abandon the family. You doubted her loyalty, yet you had no issue accepting over $100,000 from her to secure land you refused to give her legal access to. The room froze. You questioned her commitment, but you had no questions about the commitment of her money. It was a surgical strike, and it hit its mark. Robin's composure disintegrated. Gone were the delicate tears. Gone were the strategic sniffles. What came out instead were panicked, uncontrollable sobs. You don't understand. We're a family. The money was for the family. I love Meri. I never wanted to hurt her, Cody said. And then, for the first time in the entire hearing, the judge spoke. The judge's intervention. The moment everything ended. That's enough, Mrs. Brown. Her voice cut through the room like a blade. Firm. Cold. Unmistakable. This court is not concerned with your feelings about your family culture. It is concerned with the financial facts. The judge leaned forward. Did you accept Meri Brown's money or not? Robin looked at Cody. Cody looked away. And just like that, the final thread snapped. Yes. Barely a whisper, but loud enough to end their case. The judge motioned toward Meri's lawyer. Counselor, the point has been made. You may step back. Robin was dismissed, not gently, not sympathetically, but like a witness who had just undermined her own defense. She left the stand trembling, defeated, mascara streaked like battle scars. The defense rested shortly after. They had nothing left. No more witnesses. No more arguments. No more emotional manipulation that could survive the evidence. Closing arguments. The final picture. Meri's lawyers delivered a devastating, polished summary. Decades of contributions, systematic financial exploitation, a pattern of exclusion, a deliberate erasure of her legal and economic rights, emotional mistreatment disguised as spiritual duty. Their request was clear: restitution, return of her investment, damages for breach of trust, recognition of her financial stake. The defense mumbled once more about spiritual contracts, but after the cross-examinations, it sounded pathetic, almost embarrassing. The battle was over. The verdict was inevitable. The judge called for a recess, 20 minutes to review the evidence and finalize her ruling. It was, according to our insider, the most excruciating 20 minutes any of them had ever lived through. Meri sat perfectly still, her hands folded, her posture calm, but her entire body braced like a bowstring pulled tight. Across the aisle, Cody and Robin huddled with their attorneys, whispering furiously. Robin's eyes were wide and glassy. Cody's jaw clenched so hard it looked like it might crack. This was it. Everything they had built, manipulated, hidden, justified, and denied was about to be measured under the harshest possible light, law. When the judge returned, she did not waste a second. She adjusted her glasses, looked directly at Cody and Robin, and began speaking in a voice that was calm, but devastating. She acknowledged that the Brown family structure was unconventional, but added sharply that the laws of finance and property are not. She then dismantled the defense piece by piece. She called this spiritual contracts, used to justify Meri's exclusion, unconscionable. She cited Kody's own testimony, where he admitted, under oath, that he was the sole financial decision-maker, that he used Meri's money for the land, and yet refused to give her legal ownership. Then she delivered the blow that Kody never saw coming. This is a textbook case of unjust enrichment and bad faith. And then came the verdict. The judge ordered that Meri Brown's name be added, immediately and permanently, to the deed for her designated 4-acre parcel at Coyote Pass. She was also granted a legally protected 1/4 stake in all common areas, including the pond that had become a point of bitter family conflict. This alone was monumental. But the judge wasn't finished. After reviewing the accounting presented by Meri's legal team, she announced that Meri would also receive financial compensation. First, reimbursement for the documented money she contributed to the property and living expenses. Then punitive damages, because Kody had breached his fiduciary duty as the patriarch who was supposed to protect, not exploit, those who trusted him. And then she spoke the number with chilling precision. The court awards Meri Brown $540,000. The reaction was instant. Kody's jaw dropped open like it had come unhinged. Robin gasped out loud and covered her face. Meri closed her eyes, and a single tear slipped down her cheek, not from sadness, but from something deeper, vindication. This wasn't just a win. This was a reckoning. The gavel fell. Meri walked into that courtroom as the forgotten first wife, pushed aside, rewritten out of the family narrative. She walked out a landowner, a victor, and a woman whose worth had finally been recognized by the only authority Kody couldn't manipulate. The aftermath, the family and a guest cottage. Her land. Her investment. Her destiny. The other wives respond. Janelle, who has long battled her own financial disenfranchisement, is reportedly thrilled. Meri's win gives her leverage she never had before. Christine? She's ecstatic. She knows exactly what it feels like to be dismissed, devalued, and used. She sees Meri's verdict as justice for all of them. And then came the meeting. For the first time in years, Meri, Janelle, and Christine met at Liz's Heritage Inn. Not as wives competing for scraps of affection, but as survivors, united by decades of shared pain and now, shared freedom. They talked for hours about the manipulation, the gaslighting, the financial control, the lies. Christine toasted Meri as their legal gladiator. Janelle made notes about the legal strategy. Meri spoke with a calm certainty that no one had heard in years. It was the beginning of a new alliance. The children take sides. Gabe and Garrison reportedly called Meri immediately. Leon is overjoyed. Payout is gleeful. Even the quieter siblings see the verdict as symbolic justice. The truth is becoming undeniable. The Brown family was never built on Kody's leadership. It was built on the women. It was built on the children. They were the foundation. He was simply the figurehead. And now the figurehead has fallen. Construction begins and Kody snaps. Just days later, construction trucks were seen rolling up the access road toward Meri's parcel. Lumber. Concrete. Survey stakes. Meri isn't waiting for permission. She isn't waiting for Kody's appeal. She isn't waiting for reconciliation. She is breaking ground. Plans reportedly describe a 2,500 square foot modern rustic home, huge windows facing the mountains, deliberately facing away from Kody and Robin's home. A gourmet kitchen. A master suite. 2 guest suites. A full business office for running her companies. It's not a house. It's a headquarters. And Kody? According to our insider, he is losing his mind. In one incident, he allegedly drove to the construction site, screaming about permits and property lines. The foreman told him, bluntly, to leave. For the first time in decades, Kody has no power, no authority, no control, just rage, and a legally enforced payment plan. The new reality. Robin and Kody now live in a mansion they might not be able to keep. They have no access to the family pot. They have no wives to support them, no spiritual union to hide behind. They are just a monogamous couple drowning in debt. Meanwhile, Meri Brown has risen from the ashes, stronger, richer, and finally, unquestionably free. Her story is now a warning and a triumph. You can erase someone emotionally. You can rewrite the narrative. You can gaslight for years. But you cannot erase financial truth. In the end, the balance sheet spoke louder than Kody's sermons. And it delivered a price. $540,000 plus her land. Plus her legacy. Meri Brown didn't just win. She ended the era of Cody Brown.